ready?
Yes.
All right, it is 2:02 p.m. on 11/20/2025. We will call this Carroll County Administrative and Technical Transportation Committee meeting to order. If we could start off by introducing yourself and who you represent. We're starting with Aaron.
I'm Erin Jabril. I represent District 3 for the City of Delphi, Common Council.
And I'm Aaron Lyons, I'm the City of Delphi, Street Superintendent.
Arya Steiger, Area Plan Commission of Tiffany County.
Cameron Yates, City of Delphi Mayor.
Tim Stroshine, Area Plan Commission, Tiffany County.
Matt Deitchley, Deputy Commissioner for INDOT Support District.
Adam Parkhouse, Director of Stakeholder Services for INDOT.
Anita Whirling, retired.
I said that this morning. I thought she was going to come out of between the 5-hour gap. All right, very good. Thank you. We are going to hold off on the meeting minutes for a few minutes. We have another member that will be attending here shortly so that we have a proper quorum to move forward. Moving on to other business, we have the calendar year 2026 traffic counts. Is that going to be?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Turn over
So, I'll do the same spiel every time. We do them every 3 years in the same locations. We can adjust them if we have anything we want to look at. For 26, we'll just be back onto our regular 3-year cycle. I think it was either this year or last year, we took some around the new development area to kind of get some before counts, and I think community apartments as well. So if next year those will be done and open for traffic, we can do after counts, or we could wait a year. Other than that, we're open to suggestions for where to count vehicles.
You know, kind of in the pre-engineering phase for that same area. So once some decisions are made on some entry points and stuff like that, probably be a good time to do it afterward, wouldn't it? To where actually traffic is utilizing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Does everybody get those lists so where they can email one of us to add to the counts and to get ideas?
I mean, I just always see them in our packets.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you see something around the city or you know, any area that you represent that you want us to add, we have that opportunity, and that's the purpose of this grant, is to make sure that we're focusing not on the same thing, but the points that we need to maybe make adjustments, maybe not, but we'll know after the data comes in. So, okay. Anything else on 2026 traffic counts?
That's all I have.
Okay. We'll move on to State Road 25 road safety audit. Is that going to be INDOT or?
I can do that as well.
Okay.
So maybe someone will have to help me. Recently, which county was it? It was the INDOT district office in LaPorte, perhaps.
Okay.
Was doing it was one of the counties anyway, was doing a regional safe streets and roads for all action plan.
I think that was Curbsy.
Okay, that sounds right. And as part of that, like the goal is to find kind of systemic crash and safety problems across whole networks. And as part of that, they're doing some kind of more detailed analysis on particular corridors that have high crash rates or severe crashes. And that process is called a road safety audit. So they'll take a location, they'll do some research on it, go out and look at the site, talk about it with stakeholders. There's a whole process. And State Road 25, just to the east of Delphi here, was one of those corridors they were looking at. So it was kind of a short turnaround kind of thing. So our office stepped in and we attended some of those meetings to share our information about crashes out there and our perspective on safety concerns. I think they've already done all the meetings for that section already. But if you had further comments you'd like to make, I'm sure Curbsy would be happy to.
What was, if I may ask, what was because then I know INDOT does they do the same analysis. They get the crash data. They do everything that I think that was just mentioned plus more. So I'm just curious of what's spurred this grant to be, or this audit to be a thing. Did they give a reasoning for it, or is it for their research, or because INDOT provides all kinds of data for
Mhm.
every intersection, for every road they have. So I'm just curious why they gave a reason why it came about, or,
Yep, yeah, I mean, the term audit maybe is a bit scarier than
okay,
it appears. This is more of like, we have data on every, crash that happens, but the audit is more about looking at a particular place and finding what's causing the problems, as well as kind of proposing some solutions. And the document that's created from this road safety audit can be used to apply for funding for solutions.
okay.
Yeah, so just for what's worth, just from a more general standpoint, whenever we're involved with MPOs that do this, sometimes that leads to recommendations for them to recommend to us. We think that this is a good, here's a problem we see that you may not have seen, here's a solution we would suggest you do. So, and when I've worked with other MPOs, that's typically how that works too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've never been on that side of it. I was the guy that was out there doing the engineering or the research for that department and
Sure.
submitting it and all that side.
Sure.
That's new to me. I did not know that was a opportunity, but it's good, the more stakeholders, the better. So.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, and again, I'm speaking from a general standpoint, not this one specific, I'm not certainly want to speak for that because that wasn't us. But a lot of times what that does is sometimes it's also, the public may have a perception of a certain area that has a certain safety issue, and that will reinforce, well, this is what we think this is, and again, in that we think you should do this to solve this problem. So that's when I work with them. That's what this is, but
Okay.
again, I don't want to speak for Curbsy.
Yeah, that's common for us as well. We'll do at the request of citizens or a
Right.
committee for road safety audit if they think there's, problems. This one, I wasn't involved in the planning of it, so I think this is kind of a more systemic approach for like the Safe Streets and All document.
Okay.
Yeah, I think their goal was to eventually, so the Safe Streets for All, of course, has two components. The first one you need to do is develop the safety action plan, which Curbsy is doing. And then I think part of the reason for the audit is they wanted to use that to then launch into the next phase, which is applying for what they call implementation, which was just projects.
Okay.
So I think that was their goal. And I believe they had a few different corridors they were going to look at. Since this is kind of a multi-county effort, they wanted to focus on larger corridors to kind of make it so it's not just like, oh, well, we're all chipping into this together, right? So why is all the money going to one county? So that's
Sure.
why they focused on more of the corridors. Of course, the larger corridors are going to be your state roads. So I believe that was the idea.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for the clarity on that. That was something I did not know. So anything further on the road safety audit from Curbsy?
Nothing for me.
No. Okay, James Wells, welcome to, has everybody here met James? Because James, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I can. Hello, everyone. James Wells, Executive Director with the Carroll County Economic Development Corporation.
And your quorum.
In our quorum, yeah.
Oh, so, okay. Bouncing between RDC and here, so.
So the tricky part is, okay, another minute, yeah. Okay, so we'll go back to, I'll wait till Steve gets here just because I think he was at the last meeting, but we'll get to that part. We won't forget by the end of the meeting. How about the updated MOA?
Yep, so that'll be me. So what we're looking at with this is kind of to sort of clean up just the financial agreement between paying for this work that we do. So NDOT has a grant program that we can apply for 80% of the funding that pays for these traffic counts, the equipment that take the traffic counts, our staff time, any other work we might do. And so we realized that the memorandum of agreement we had was pretty outdated. So we went through and we brought that and got approval from that for the county commissioners on September 2nd at their meeting. And so now we have a memorandum of agreement that has to be circulated around and signed. So I believe we've gotten the mayor's signature on that. We're still waiting on the county commissioners to sign that. And then once we get them to sign, then we will take it back and have our chair of our policy board, which is actually Lafayette's mayor, will sign it on behalf of Tippecanoe County. It's already been approved from our end as well, so we're just waiting on the signatures, and then it will be official. So one thing I did want to mention about this memorandum of agreement is that it does cap how much money you will pay us. So it is certainly possible that the amount that you pay will be under that cap. But I would also point out that it does give you, specifically this board, the opportunity to, if you do see any transportation issues, to kind of give us the directive to work on those, at least as far as the budget will allow. Obviously, there's, some limits to how much time we can put in with the budget available. But, if there are some issues with some of the development that's coming up that you think would be a good use of our time, or some data gathering for any kind of grants or anything along those lines that you think we could help you with, those types of work items would be in play. The Community Crossings grant program was mentioned earlier. If there's any need for assistance with applications that, we can help out again with data gathering, or we've worked with other small towns in such a Tippecanoe County in the past on that, so we have some familiarity with the process. So we can help with all that stuff if needed. So I just want to remind everyone that we aren't just limited to the traffic counts. Really, our limit is just based on this budget. And if you don't need us, that's totally fine. But again, just want to make sure everyone's aware of what is available and what your options are to utilize, what you're paying for.
Was there a date of November 20th, correct? Is that a date that you needed the signatures by, or is that just kind of, so we had it for today? And
yeah, I was hoping to be able to pick it up and take it back and get it signed. Today wasn't really a magical date.
Okay.
Really, the only date we need it signed by is the end of the fiscal year.
Okay. We will make sure that happens if I had to drive to all three of their houses and get a signature, but yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yes. Okay, so that's that. Are there any other questions about that?
Could I ask?
Go ahead, Anita, sure.
So when you say of the services, regarding community, the Community Crossings Grant Program, are you talking about, like updating the Pazer information, or?
So we could theoretically do that. We do actually do that for Clarks Hill and Tippecanoe County. My guess, however, would be that would, the cost would be outside of the budget.
I just wanted to clarify what, when you said the services, whether that was included. Okay, thank you.
So maybe as a little more specific example for Community Crossings, I know in the past, we have helped out with some crash data analysis, which is a little more, we just kind of do that from the office.
Sure.
Gather some specific data from locations. So that's a little lower budget, but that might be maybe a more specific example of how we help with the CCMG grant.
Thank you.
Yes, good question.
All right, anything further on the updated MOA, other than we just need signatures?
That's all.
Okay. All right, on
Cameron, can I
to,
say something really quick?
absolutely.
James was at the last meeting. I don't think Chief Mullins was at the last meeting.
Was that when
That
I
was
first
when-
introduced you?
Yes.
Gosh, it's been that long already.
Yeah, that was
It,
in
it,
August.
it feels like, oh.
I think it was like your second day, but okay, so now,
Yeah,
yes.
he was here.
Yeah, he was.
Yes, okay, so we will backtrack here to the approval of the minutes. Everybody's been presented with the meeting minutes from August 21st, correct? Everybody had a chance to review. First, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion here, a second from Dot. All right, any discussion, additions, subtractions, corrections to the submitted meeting minutes from August 21st? All right, hearing none, all in favor of approving the meeting minutes from August 21st, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting minutes are, we don't get to do that very often, right?
We
So
don't.
it's exciting.
Great.
Yeah, the whole time we did this at the other facility, we never did.
Celebrate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
I remember there was,
more.
there was like a year and a half backlog or something. when
Oh,
we were
it
at the
was,
old
Last
facility.
It was like
It
2
was-
years.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so this is kind of a celebrate,
I'll go get drinks.
confetti and, yeah, baby steps, we're getting there, I love it. All right, very good. So now we'll get back on track here with the 18-month letting list, and I believe that is Tim.
Okay, so this is on the last page of the packet. I don't know if we could pause for just a second while you. Okay, yes. So the first few projects on there were originally intended to let in September on State Road 75. If you were to scroll down just a little bit more under the bid letting results, there were no bid letting results for those because they're no longer listed. So from the access that we have, we couldn't tell if that was because that project had been rescheduled. That would be my guess, is that because of some of the rebalancing that NDOT has to do with all their districts, which happens in our district too, this is not unique to.
That's my understanding, is that, I think that got pushed back. I don't remember what it got pushed back to,
Yeah,
but.
I think it's moved down to rebalancing.
Yep. Yep, same thing happens for us too, so we understand that is reality of
It's a
where
challenge.
we're at right now, yeah. So we would expect those to be back on the future. They're probably just outside of that 18-month window that this letting list captures. So we can, and then, so the next couple, so we do have a letting coming in December of this year, expected on Old 025 at Deer Creek, another bridge replacement. And then we have a couple more coming next year, which will actually be fiscal 27, because we have one in July and one in November of next year. So one of those is a bridge deck overlay, and then one of them is an HMA overlay, preventative maintenance on State Road 25 there. Then we did have a project that moved back a little bit on the letting list on US 421. It was originally supposed to let in July of 2026, and has moved back to March of 2027. So that will still be in the same fiscal year, which is important from our MPO and NDOT world to kind of keep that in the same fiscal year. So that's a small structure drains and construction. And then we had a couple new ones that just popped on the list that are right near the end of that 18-month window, which one on US 421 and one on State Road 25, State Road 75, I should say. Small structure drain construction project there, as well as a bridge rehab, State Road 75. So are there any questions, or maybe our partners at NDOT, if you have any comments on this or any additional information that we were able to capture that you'd like to share?
Nothing beyond that, it was just, reshuffling the deck, that's what we've been doing. Adam, if you have anything else to add, that was pretty much the reason we added.
So I do have a question on this. So this particular area has been under construction quite a bit since the 26 widening. I know Federal Highway, I dove into some things, and there's areas where the asphalt has failed.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some farmers reach out to me because they were a lot of grain trucks and cars that are hitting it and all that. So I know that's more of it's kind of a Federal Highway thing. It's an NDOT thing. So I don't know.
What road?
421.
Right, yeah,
421.
just right out here. So I think it's
Yeah,
less
I'm
than
aware
2
of
years
it.
old.
Yeah.
So.
It is something that we would talk with our maintenance crews about it, because the project is signed off and it was good to go when we signed off on it. So we're aware of it. And our maintenance crews have been kind of developing a plan and also try to fact find about how did that happen and everything. So we're in the midst of that. We're aware of it.
Okay.
As best I can say at this point.
I will pass that on.
Yep.
Okay. All right, very good. Anything else on the 18-month letting list?
Real quick, I'm sorry, one more thing I can say. If you do, again, anybody, if you guys get comments about NDOT roads and you have questions, Adam and I are always a resource, but if it's like a citizen, our 855 NDOT for you number or our website is a great place to go and get direct. You get a tracking number, or they'll get your answer back in a timely fashion too. So for what it's worth, don't hesitate to send them that way too. And we're not putting them off. It's a way that gets you them faster.
Sure. And I think I gave both, I had a printed copy of one of those cards in my car, so they did get it. And
If you need more, let us know.
yeah, if you don't mind, we put them down at the front desk for winter season and for.
But did you write compliments only at the bottom of it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Thank
kind of
you.
like our compliment box.
It's like all the council meetings, right?
Yeah. All right, very good. Anything further on the 18-month letting list? All right. How about citizen comments? Anybody online today?
Oh, good question. It's like nobody online.
We had a fan club there for a while, like 30, 4 deep. We were moving up.
We have 2 on YouTube and 1 on Facebook, and one of those might be me on both, so.
Still counts.
But yes,
Yeah.
we're not taking that number off. All right, do we want to wait a few minutes in case they have questions, or?
It's up to you.
Well, if there's nobody on, I don't really think.
Okay, that's fair,
Yeah,
yeah.
if we had 5 people, then we'd give them an opportunity, but there's nobody there.
Yeah, I guess we could chat really quick. For the Tippecanoe County meetings, we accept public comments only in person for our in-person meetings. We don't accept virtual comments.
Okay,
If you'd like to accept both in-person and virtual comments for this meeting, it's entirely up to you,
however
so.
you do it in Tippecanoe County.
Okay,
I don't see any reason changing it.
okay,
I believe that's on NERC and MACOG do as well. I believe they do the same things.
Okay, might as well keep it consistent.
yeah. All right, so no public comments then, it sounds like.
All right. Couple of small items, meeting dates for 2026. We have one on February 19th, May 21st, August 20th, and November 19th. These are on the bottom of your packet that was submitted, so if you'll add those to your calendar, and I will do my due diligence of, like I do every year, of trying to get people to the meetings, because NDOT is gracious enough to help us fund this grant. Tippecanoe County puts a lot of work into it, and it's important that the stakeholders are here to be a part of it. So I've been in a lot of these meetings, and the attendance goes up, but then all of a sudden it drops off. So, and everybody's schedules are busy. I can share that. It's one of those where we can do a lot of things with this board, and that just starts with people showing up. So I will try to put that email out again and see if it works. But any other business from the board? All right. Any public comments? I love this part. All right. Anything further? Nope.
For me.
All right, there's just one last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourn.
You did it.
Shannon and I were just wondering, we're like, am I required?
I'm surprised it's still intact. We had
Public quorum.
83.
Yeah.